this party started.
He's shining a light in the dark corners of our media.
You are fake news.
Our government.
Handling of classified documents.
And our culture.
Don't trust anyone.
It's common sense amidst chaos.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Here's your host, Ike Wingate.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the show. I am so glad you are with us today. The title of today's program is Candace Owens has jumped the shark. You know what that's in reference to? Jumping the shark is basically when something has just gone way past a reasonable place. I believe it originated from like Happy Days when, I don't know, maybe the Fonz ended up jumping a shark, which was so ridiculous it meant that it was past its expiration date. It was beyond believable at that point, and that is exactly what Candace Owens is at the moment. Beyond believable, and the only, I think, logical conclusion you can come to about what she is doing is she has some sort of agenda to use this tragedy to become richer and grow her audience. I also am beginning to suspect that she had some kind of crush on Charlie Kirk, and obviously she was on the outs with him, even though she tries to claim that she was like so close with him. I think he saw certain qualities that Candace Owens had, and he tried to encourage those qualities while also recognizing she's totally nuts. And so I'm not going to fuel or give oxygen to those aspects of her personality, but I will try to encourage the positive, aspect. So it's kind of like that crazy person that that you like them, sort of. You don't think they're necessarily a bad person, but there are parts of them you just really don't like, and so you sort of, or maybe you know them professionally and you don't want to burn the bridge, but you also don't want to, make the bridge any stronger. I think that's the way it was with Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens, but I think she wanted more out of the situation, and that is what's fueling this obsession. Like, this is an obsession, and I understand wanting answers, but what she's doing now is totally maligning everyone that Charlie Kirk cared about, which I think is unacceptable, because you are literally knowingly, or if it's not knowingly, then she's mentally ill. You're knowingly trying to draw conclusions to things that have nothing to do with anything. Because someone's last name is the same as someone else, they're probably related. That's her logic. And it's always, oh, you are not going to believe this. This totally blows it open, totally confirms what we were thinking. I mean, she's nuts. And she's doing irreparable harm to Charlie Kirk's legacy, to the people he cared about most, to just trust in the conservative space. She's totally tearing down that trust with her insane takes. And so it is causing, I would say, a lot of division on the right, because she used to be a trusted voice. And when you look at her background and where she came from as far as the early days as an adult, she's a liberal. She's a liberal masquerading as a conservative. I think she's totally fake. And, if we were drawing conclusions about her life like she draws about everyone else, then, she's friends with someone who has the same last name as somebody who killed JFK, and she was in on it. And she was born into a family that developed a, pandemic that killed a bunch of people. I mean, that's her logic. So we'll talk about that coming up. We'll also talk about the fact that Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin, suspected assassin, even though he admitted to doing it and turned himself in, he is involved in a court proceeding about whether or not this judge is going to allow media inside this court for this trial, which it was a public crime. It should be a public trial. He wanted it in public. Think about this. All the people saying some foreign government was involved. And I mean, Candace Owens says because there were people wearing the same color shirts there, a group wearing the same color shirts, they were in on something. But think about this. If a foreign government, and I said this as soon as this stupid theory came out about somehow Israel being involved, I said this as soon as that came out. I don't know if it was a week later, 2 weeks later, whatever. As soon as I heard it, my first response was, you're telling me that a foreign entity wanted to assassinate Charlie Kirk, which I don't know how assassinating him hurts or helps them, number one. But number two, don't you think if it was some slick foreign government covert ops, special forces operation, don't you think they could just have killed this guy and made it look like an accident? When he's driving somewhere or come in contact with him, I mean, the dude shook a bunch of people's hands. If you wanted to kill him, why don't you put some deadly substance on someone's hand, and then he shakes the hand, and then he mysteriously dies, and we can't figure out what the heck happened to him. There are a bazillion ways that someone with all these resources could take this guy out if they really wanted him out, that don't involve a bazillion variables in front of a bunch of people, in front of the world, like happened. People say, well, it's because they wanted it to be really, really public and, they wanted it to, look really, really, really heinous. Okay, well, if they did, this would be a horrible place to do it. There are way too many witnesses, and you would do it in some kind of dark theater or something. I mean, you wouldn't do it like this. It doesn't make any sense. There are, a bazillion other opportunities that you could have the same effect. So none of it adds up at all. One, motive. Two, the methodology. And I've maintained from the beginning that Tyler Robinson never intended to hit Charlie Kirk in the neck. The dude just did not factor the fall of the trajectory of his bullet. I think he intended to shoot Charlie Kirk in the head. And I think he missed, and for lack of a better term, got lucky. So no one, even these people that are, so sophisticated and can carry out these special ops, no one could have pinpoint accurately hit that guy in the neck in such a way on purpose that the bullet did not exit in the way that it stayed in his body. Because really, the fortunate thing for all the people behind Charlie Kirk was that it did not exit. You think this assassin cared about that? No. But I'm just telling you, all these people say, oh, there was something about the neck and it was to silence his voice. Bull crap. Tyler Robinson was not trained, did not have the experience to be able to intentionally hit Charlie Kirk in the neck. That was an unfortunate accident. That's what I believe. He wasn't going to try to shoot him in the chest because the probability of survival would have gone up. And so I think he meant to shoot Charlie Kirk in the face, and he missed. Unfortunately, his miss was deadly. And My point being that I don't believe, based on any, and I'm open to have a change in, I have an open mind. I'm open to changing my mind on it with new information. But the information we have right now, unless it was some very highly skilled, trained sharpshooter, sniper, whatever you want to call it, would the shot to the neck be intentional? So anyone who believes this, like, I understand the bullet, and I'm going to talk to you about the bullet coming up here from a ballistics expert. I understand there's a lot of doubt about a 30-06 round, how it had to exit. We'll talk about that. I understand, of all the questions people have, that is the most reasonable question. But the people that then go and have these, not theories, but stating it as fact, as this couldn't happen or that couldn't happen or this would have happened instead, when you don't know what you're talking about, I reject that. It's okay to have a theory, but if you're stating it as this is a fact when we don't have all the information, I'm sorry, you're wrong. You don't have the information to be able to make a definitive statement that way. But I get asking about the no exit wound. But this idea that some kind of foreign entity and these freaking planes from Egypt, that is absurd. It's absurd. It's an insult. It's an insult to the intelligence of people who have brains. Give me a break. If there is a foreign entity involved in this, they want no trace back to them whatsoever. And this is not the venue that they do it. So either the dude was set up or he wasn't. If he was set up, then there wouldn't be a bunch of Egyptian planes flying around running, some kind of interference for him or whatever the theory is. Again, Candace Owens has never actually stated what happened. All she's done is thrown out weird things that happen every day, everywhere, and state those as the reason there's a cover-up. She's a grifter. All she's doing is trying to get attention and make money, and she is making money. I'm still trying to go through the show, the tease for the entire show, and I'm getting hung up on all this crap. But Charlie Kirk's assassin in court, they're deciding on whether or not this trial should be public. I absolutely, emphatically believe it should. There are all, that's another thing about this is people are making all these assumptions because the information isn't out there in the public because they're trying to prosecute this guy. So they're not going to give all the information until it's timely in the trial, and they don't want to taint the jury pool. And so another reason to make it public is because of that. At the very least, to shut these loony bags up. I don't know if that's a word, but it seems like it should be. So that's a reason in and of itself to shut down the idiots. There are so many other words that I would like to be using, but because I have to maintain a professional demeanor and, decorum here, I'm not going to say what I actually think, which are words that are not savory. So that hearing is happening. We've got some ballistic wisdom that we're going to share with you from an expert, and Republicans are disappointing us again in Congress. Big surprise. The trade deficit is improving, much to the chagrin of the Trump haters. There was an oil tanker raid off the coast of Venezuela yesterday. There's a war on white people going on. And an ironic pride celebration will be occurring during a soccer match between two countries that put gay people in jail. Oh, the irony there during the FIFA World Cup. We'll talk about that. And an inconvenient truth for Hamas. all these people, anti-Israel, anti-Israel. They don't spend any time talking about Hamas, because to recognize that is to diminish their argument that Israel is just the worst. Again, I've said it 100 times on this show. I don't think that everything Israel does is 100% correct, because they are a government. I still support them. That doesn't mean I support everything they do. But in general, I don't want boots on the ground there. I don't want a bunch of money going over there. I think there are reasonable levels of support. So I've added my disclaimer. I don't support everything they do, but in general, I support them. I support their right to exist. I support that the holy sites need to be protected. And Hamas is evil. I don't care what you say. There is way too much evidence. Obviously, we have all the evidence of October 7th and what they did to babies. And there's video evidence of these things. But it's like nobody ever talks about that when they're talking about how terrible Israel is. Again, I didn't say Israel was innocent of everything. But Hamas is 100 times worse. All right, what Democrats fear the most about 2026, and tremendous disrespect inside of a congressional hearing today toward the National Guard who was assassinated. You won't believe what this Democrat actually characterized that event as, rather than an execution. Or maybe you will believe. And a little info from the hearing for Secretary Noem. Maryland man is free. And of course, we will have our daily triggered liberal. All right. Before I get into the stories, I'm going to peep at your comments. David Sling says, at this point, I'm thinking Candace is getting paid to tear down Charlie's TPUSA network. Yeah. I think that's a completely reasonable theory. Even if it's not someone who's paying her specifically to do it, by having some proximity to TPUSA in years past, she is exploiting it to make it look like she's some kind of insider and that it's all about Charlie and he was my friend. She's using that to make a lot of money based on the views that she gets, and she's getting a lot of views. Pam says, I'm with Candace. She's on point. Pam, I'm sorry, but let me tell you, Candace Owens is nuts. She's insane. She's a narcissist. Classic narcissist. It may be entertaining to watch the soap opera unfold, but she has no proof. I stand by that. But Pam, if you provide me with specific proof that she's provided, I will take a look at it, and I'm willing to say I was wrong. And I will give you $100 out of my own wallet if that happens. It's a virus of the brain that Candace Owens is spreading to reasonable people like Pam. So it continues, and it's appealing to, what's interesting is her audience is largely women. So it could be, women who are hungry for a soap opera. I don't know. But she has gone way past any point of reasonable doubt. Well, I'm just asking questions. No, you are literally saying, okay, I'm going to give you a 10, well, not 10 second. I will make it as short as I can here. I watched a clip from her show yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. And believe me, it's like agonizing for me to watch this. But the only reason I do is to be able to speak credibly regarding what is happening in the world, in our country, and especially, on the conservative side. But she literally spent all this time explaining that she got an email from a viewer, okay, a guy who was in protective custody over some involvement he had with border enforcement and drug apprehension years ago. And the cartel discovered who he was, so he ended up entering witness protection, which, by the way, she told everybody where he lived. I mean, he's in witness protection, but she said, yeah, so he flew from the state of Washington. I'm like, okay, well, you're stupid. But, you know, he's using this different name, okay, his witness protection name. And he used to be, you know, in the military. So he wants answers. He wants answers. And so he's flying, you know, down to some base. I think it was in Arizona, maybe. Close to the border. Anyway, it was Arizona, California, New Mexico, somewhere around there. But I think it was Arizona. While he's there, he goes on base to try to find where his old unit is and somehow gets in this building where a huge meeting just let out with a bunch of really important people. And guess who he sees? A guy that looks a certain way. And he's like, I remember that guy. This was on September 8th, by the way, this big meeting of like really high up people. He sees this guy that walks out of the meeting and he's like, who's that? And then days later, after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he recognizes that's the guy I saw at the meeting. Guess who the guy is? The head of security for Charlie Kirk. Had to be him, right? Had to be. This guy's totally credible. He sent her an email and they've checked it out. Yeah. Oh, and also, guess who else was there? Somebody else with the last name Neff. Guess who else has the last name Neff? A guy who works for Charlie Kirk. Couldn't be a coincidence. Impossible. That name is so unique. That's her reasoning, that they were meeting regarding killing Charlie Kirk. And this guy just happened to see it because he was on this fact-finding mission to get back to who he was years ago. It's all bullcrap. And let me tell you, if you don't believe that, another listener email went into Candace Owens a while back telling her that all these things are coming back to this same address over and over and over. She covers it on her show. The address is this. She reads it over and over and over. Guess where this headquarters is. And you know what they did? Someone pranked her. They found in a public court document from one of her lawsuits the address to Candace Owens' own attorney. And guess what that address is? The address that this viewer sent in via email. And then Candace Owens built this totally horse crap theory around that everything's coming out of this address. Well, that's where your attorney is located, you freaking dumb person. Dumb. So let me tell you, she's not smart. She is not a critical thinker. She is not employing investigative, objective skills and how she is looking at all this. And she continues to be exposed left and right. She never admits it. She never proactively says, oh, I got that wrong. That's my attorney's address. And I just spent a whole episode trying to tell you, oh, we found the, you know, the link to all of these places. It's bull crap. And I'll say it. I've tweeted it. Someone needs to have an intervention with Candace Owens. Her husband needs to say, okay, you've got to back off of this. You've gone nuts. Her husband needs to do that, but he's probably not going to do that. He's afraid of her, I'm sure. Her family needs to approach her. I don't know her personal situation on any of those things. Don't care. But anybody who truly cares about this woman needs to confront her with an intervention, because she has gone off the deep end. Like, when you are this delusional and driven by your own ego, bad things can happen. bad decisions are made. She's obsessed. And her obsession is taking her to a very dark place. I don't care that she asks questions, but when she starts to say, oh, this proves it, and this is blowing it wide open, exactly what we've been saying, that's a lie. Oh, at the same time, accusing Charlie Kirk's wife and accusing Charlie Kirk's closest friends and overanalyzing the way people grieve, overanalyzing the way people react. That's the problem. She's gone far beyond, I'm looking for answers. No, she's making accusations. And they're unfounded. And we're supposed to be on the same side here. And that's the problem I have. I'm not trying to say, everything we've been told is exactly how it happened. We just haven't been told much. So anyway, watch Candace Owens if you like, but it's your own brain cells that you're killing. You're free to do it. I'm disgusted by her. It's so bad. Okay, how about this? We'll look at this hearing that's going on to decide whether or not the media can be present for the trial of Tyler Robinson, the alleged assassin of Charlie Kirk. He appeared in court, and this was the moment the cameras were allowed for now. And he's just a freaking dorky dweeb with an egg-shaped head, and he's grinning.
Robinson now, as the attorney steps away for this preliminary hearing. We've got it all.
He thinks this is funny. He thinks this is just great. He's got a smug smirk on his face.
Star lineup of guests ready to break down what happens during the day today. Let's go first of all to our correspondent Matt Finn. He's outside the.
So you see him there, and he's making sure his tie looks good. No remorse. He wants as much attention as possible. Doesn't seem like a man who is carrying the weight of murder. It's disgusting. I mean, I don't even want to look at this dude based on everything he's allegedly done. It's not surprising, right? It's not surprising that the guy who carried out this horrific act is a freaking piece of crap, right? Okay. Couple other things before we get into some of these other items. Time Magazine should have named Charlie Kirk Person of the Year. That's what they should have done. Who would be more fitting than Person of the Year, Charlie Kirk? Instead, they named the Person of the Year is AI. So should somebody tell Time Magazine that AI is not a person? AI wants to be a person. AI is not a person. So Time Magazine totally misses out on an opportunity to enshrine in history the importance of this man, Charlie Kirk, and instead they freaking get controlled by the robots. Pretty ridiculous. All right, so Candace Owens, here's a few examples of some of the crap she's been saying. Basically saying that Erica Kirk didn't just get to be widowed into chairman and CEO. Again, accusations.
Well, now you're going to have to prove that you have the ability to be a CEO and a chairman and not just a wife who we expect emotion from. And you're rightful in that capacity. You are rightful to have emotion. You are rightful to be the aggrieved widow, but you don't get to just be widowed into the position of chairman and CEO. You don't get to respond to, well, in this case, investors, donors who have given money and are asking meaningful questions with, no, you don't get replies right now because this is the Charlie Kirk show, fam. Doesn't work this way.
All right. So basically, you're not allowed to just become the CEO of Turning Point USA because you were widowed. That's not how it works, she says. Who's to say and give you the authority to say what someone can or cannot do with their organization? You entitled brat. She's just jealous. I mean, she has jealousy written and envy written all over everything she says and does. Charlie Kirk was closer to his wife than anyone else involved at Turning Point USA. He mapped out what he wanted to do in his journals, and the board voted for her to be the CEO. That's how it works. Candace Owens is seething with jealousy. Seething with jealousy. I don't know how someone who watches her can't see that. And there have been so many accusations from her. Turning Point USA has tried to take the high road. They're going to host this event next week to dispel these different things. Candace said, anytime, anywhere. And then they said, we're doing it at this time, this place. Oh, I can't do that. I can't. We knew that was going to happen. But so far, Turning Point has kept a pretty high road mentality about this. They don't want, here's the thing. You lost somebody. You're a victim, too, of this assassination. If you're in the organization of TPUSA, and his close friends, and his family, his wife, you're a victim. But yet, in the middle of becoming a victim and grieving and trying to keep this organization going so the assassin doesn't win, you're obligated to address every bat crap crazy accusation from every crazy person? No, that's not how it works. You don't get to dictate what someone does when they're in the middle of dealing with the tragedy. That's not how it works. Oh, then why aren't you addressing this? Because I don't want to dignify that idiocy with a response, and I've got other more important things to do. My world doesn't revolve around you, Candace, but yet that's the way she's gone about it. But TPUSA has finally said, it's been 3 months. This chick is not stopping. We just need to set the record straight and shut her down. Of course, she's going to use it. She already is. And Erica Kirk, she's out there promoting Charlie's new book, Stop in the Name of God, about observing the Sabbath. He had just finished writing it a few weeks before he was assassinated. People go, oh, that's a sign, that this is all a conspiracy. They wanted to sell books, and books after someone dies sell better. And so it's no surprise that, it's like, or have you ever thought about the possibility that this dude, is writing multiple books, and at any given time, he's going to be either writing a book, finishing a book, or about to write a book? That's kind of how it works typically. But nonetheless, plenty of people have died after writing a book. It's happened before. But Erica Kirk's out there trying to get, people to buy this book. She believes in the message behind it. Obviously, her organization will be supported by it. So, they're fighting for their life too, TPUSA, to try to rebound after such a prominent figure as the figurehead of their organization and the founder is gone. They're fighting to keep his legacy alive as far as the work they do day to day. It's part of it. It's just reality. You may not like it. You may think it doesn't fit your definition of how to grieve, the right way, but it's just reality. And so she's out there and she's finally calling this out more specifically. She didn't name Candace by name, but you can certainly glean that from what she says.
Of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing. This is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that. But this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
What are they taking from you right now?
All right, so that's in regard to wondering where Charlie Kirk is buried. We see memorials that are vandalized and destroyed all over the country by left-wing lunatics. What do you think they would do to the poor guy's grave? I mean, I would say, bury the guy in a cemetery that has security. I mean, I don't know. It's too bad they couldn't have put him in Arlington, because I'm telling you, he is a national treasure. He will be remembered. That is what I believe, and a lot of other people believe it. And unfortunately, there are sick people that would desecrate someone's grave they don't like. Freaking nut jobs. And so basically she's saying, I'm not telling you where he's buried. That's our sacred right to know, and we want to protect it. And I get it 100%.
Nothing. But I will tell you what they are doing. It reminds me so much of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall, and the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row. I cannot come down. I am busy building. That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. Mm-hmm. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. Mm-hmm. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole. Whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode.
Talking to you, Candace. She's talking to you. Hundreds of thousands of dollars an episode this grifter is making.
Going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this. No.
I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus.
Amen, sister.
Yes, I believe in our judicial system.
Oh, the conspiracy theories. She said Jew. She knows that this is what she's telegraphing it to us. I mean, this is how stupid people are these days.
I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful and we are human. My team are not machines and they're not robots. They are human. We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. I have, you name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. And thank the good Lord that I did not have to see that happen. But my team, they are rocked to the core. So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed, hyper-analyzed?
You know, the conspiracies that are out there, all of the like. Do you think that there is more of it now because you do shine your light? I mean, did people just expect you would just go away?
I think that's what people did expect. Oh, well, you know, someone who loses their husband in that manner, you know, just goes away. Like a Jacqueline, you know, Jackie Kennedy kind of thing. Well, this is the difference in people that have an eternal perspective is she's not looking at this as this is the end of my life. Obviously, sadness, despair, a great void. But she's looking at this going, my life is a mission. I want to see my husband again. I want to get on with this work because this is what he would have wanted. And I do not want to let him die in vain or let these sick people win because I have hope. When you have hope and you have an eternal perspective, you act differently than the world. And that's what you're supposed to do. If you're a believer in Christ, that's what you're supposed to do. And she's incredibly strong. You know, there are different ways that different people grieve. I'm just telling you, there are things she has done that I wouldn't have done. There's things maybe that she hasn't done that I would have done. You know, this is the case with everybody. Everyone is different. If you've ever lost somebody you care about, you understand this very well because you see how just different people grieve the loss of the same person. And that's just reality. And so to be critical of her because you don't think she's doing it right, well, screw off. When your husband gets publicly assassinated, then you can tell us what you would have done.
I don't know what they expected. I don't know what they expected.
They pick on you because of your accessories. I mean, I've seen some of it.
Oh, yeah. No, at this point, it's what the conspiracy collection. Get it before Christmas. Like, seriously, wow. You will, if you want to find and pick me apart, go right ahead. I do not care. I don't. This was happening before Charlie was murdered. Both of us have been through the ringer of people will call you whatever they want to call you. They will. But I have seen it firsthand impact the people.
Okay. All right. So obviously she is coming out a little more aggressively against this ridiculousness. Meanwhile, Candace Owens keeps making all kind of money, doesn't she? What's interesting is she said a long time ago,
like I am on.
She said a long time ago, well, when Erica tells me to, if Erica tells me to stop, I'll stop.
This journey to figure out what happened on that day. I'm not going to stop unless Erica Kirk asks me to stop, as I have said, or my father, or my husband asks me to stop.
Erica Kirk has asked you to stop. She has told you that your words are powerful and words matter. And
come after me, call me names. I don't care. Call me what you want. Go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, all
right. So we played that clip. So Candace is a liar. She's a liar. Come after me. Sorry, that's not what I meant to say. I'll stop whenever, if Erica asks me to. Erica's said, none of this is helping. There's no ulterior motive here. And is Candace stopping? No. When Erica Kirk made that statement, guess who got giddy with evil glee? Candace Owens. Shooting this video. Oh, guys, get ready today. Extreme close-up video. Oh, yeah. I mean, she loves the fact that she's getting attention on these major media outlets. She loves it. She eats it up. This is her fuel. The fuel to this insane fire is being talked about.
Okay, super fun show today. You're probably seeing the clips, but Erica has gone off on conspiracy theorists. Obviously, every journalist out there is emailing me because
I mean, look how freaking happy she is. Smug and just loving it. Oh, Erica's going after conspiracy theorists. Obviously, she's talking about me. I'm so important. I got to her. This reeks of desperation. Reeks of just poisonous, toxic envy. It's so gross. It's so nasty. So nasty. She's just wait for President Trump to come out. Finally, like, address it, right? Let me tell you, Candace Owens, she's a nasty woman. She's so nasty, okay? She's totally gross. She's a grifter. She's toxic. She's one of the worst I've ever seen. She's so nasty. And if you think about it, really, she's totally gross and totally in it for the money.
it's about me. It's indirect, but it's also about me.
I mean, look at her. She's loving this. You think she has the motive of catching Charlie Kirk's killer? You think she has the motive for pursuing the truth? You think this is some kind of righteous mission she's on? Absolutely not. Look at this person. She is an absolute train wreck and totally trampling on Charlie Kirk's grave. Charlie Kirk would be absolutely disgusted by this human. Disgusted.
And don't worry, in case you think it's not about me, she is going to name check me on stage with Barry Weiss on Saturday. How do we know? Because our mommy sleuths be everywhere. And they recorded the town hall today. And as soon as the town hall concluded, we got a flutter of emails. And what she says about the Egyptian planes, I'm sorry, not going to lie, it's a little suspicious. It's weird.
Of course it is, because everything this woman does or anyone in TPUSA does is suspicious when you are, dare I say it, retarded. I said it, okay? It's appropriate.
It's a weird response. So look, we got to go there.
We got to go there, guys. All we're trying to do, I mean, it's tough, but somebody's got to do it. I mean, she makes everything about herself, about all the stuff she has to deal with and how important she is and how all the things she does to look into this stuff and blah, 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 blah. She is a freaking liar. She's a liar. She told us that President Trump called her a while back and asked her to stop talking about Brigitte Macron because it was messing up peace negotiations for Ukraine. Bull crap. Can't believe anything she says. And the fact that we're even giving it any attention is annoying to me because it's like, why would you give an insane person any attention? But it has to be done. She has to be refuted. She has to be challenged because there are a lot of people out there, not naming any names, that are watching this going, I wonder if she's right. Well, what's going on with that? Yeah, that is weird. I'll tell you what. Name me a place and time where any event has happened, any event where there's more than 100 people. Give me video footage of it, and I will go through the video and say, okay, I think these people are, you can always find weird stuff happening anywhere or stuff that looks weird if you don't understand what's going on with the context and more information. So everything out there is a nail and she's a hammer. Everything looks like a nail because she's trying to make money off this, casting doubt. I mean, if it were some sort of leftist, like public leftist, even though I think she's a private leftist, but it was a public leftist, someone who'd been fighting on the left that came out and did this, you would just expect it. But for someone who claims to be this guy's friend, this is just so reprehensible. It's so horrible. All right, so let me show you this ballistics expert, this Phoenix ammunition on X. He put up a 47-minute live video the other day and went through it. Okay, and I'm not going to play the video for you, but I'm just showing you what he lays out here. He lays out these various scenarios of muzzle velocity, the velocity at 100 yards, even though it was allegedly more than that. You know, the distance was farther than 100 yards, but he said, you know, for the sake of let's just get a nice even number, even though the actual joules of force would be less than this at the site, but let's just say it is. So he goes through all of these various variables. He goes through the different projectile types for this 30-06 round. Depending on what it is, it reacts and behaves differently. We don't know any of that stuff. His point is, you can't say something did or didn't happen like you're some kind of expert, as if you've done a scientific test on this, if you don't know exactly what happened and exactly what was used that day. You can't do an accurate test. And so his point was, even if you know the exact round and all, you know, to be able to test this effectively, you would have to have everything correct. And his point is, shooting a round into ballistic gel or into a pig's head are not accurate tests. They're not. He said, as someone who is an expert in ammunition, he has seen rounds go through ballistic gel and then curve down or yaw left or right. And it's the same gun, same distance, but various rounds out of the same box have different anomalies. They're not an exact replica every time, and they do behave differently from time to time. He said he has seen so many variables in his career with the way different bullets behave that he thinks it's absolutely absurd that these people are saying this is what happened or this couldn't have happened. When you look at the angle in which this bullet came down, and I know a lot of people, good people, that say there's no way a 30-06 did that. Well, we've seen that there was this cavitation event that occurred where Charlie Kirk's whole entire body swelled up. You know, it expanded and then retracted very quickly. You could see that the bullet hit the back of his body because his back expanded and then retracted. What this expert is saying, depending on the angle in which this hit a vertebrae, if it hit it from an angle of the side, it's going to encounter more density from the bones. He's not saying that Charlie Kirk was made of steel, but he said the guy would have been about at the height of health for about the densest bone time period a person would have if they're healthy. And then you take into account he's a tall guy. His bones would be slightly larger, or his vertebrae. He said, so there are so many factors you don't even know, but he points to, you know, the fibers of the bone, and he equates it to splitting a log. He said you wouldn't try to split a log from the side right, where the bark is, you would try to split it from the end or from the top because the fibers of the wood go up and down, and that's how you could split a piece of wood. He said bone fibers are similar in the way they run, and it would, if you shoot a gun directly into the side of a bone, it's going to encounter a much more dense resistance than, say, if you shot it from the top, depending on the scenario. So he goes through all of these variables and said, we don't know this, we don't know this, we don't know this. And the people that are saying this clearly don't know what they're talking about because they don't know about this, 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 and this. And his point of view is this is completely plausible that a 30-06 round, depending on what it was and depending on what it hit, could have tumbled around like crazy once it hit some resistance in the vertebrae. And the people saying there's no way possible are not considering all the factors. And this is what I've said from the beginning is, man, in real life, weird things do happen. And I'm not saying, when you start seeing everything just add up in a weird way, I'm just naturally skeptical. But I've also looked at enough scenarios where my initial response was, oh no, this is what happened. And then after seeing, more information, I'm like, oh wow, I was totally wrong. I've seen those kind of scenarios enough to realize, man, sometimes weird stuff happens. And any first responder or police officer who's been doing it very long can tell you the exact same thing. Sometimes the weirdest crap happens. And so based on really slow video, and even people that say they don't think it was the 30-06, they've concluded this bullet did not exit. And when you look at, that's my opinion based on what I've seen, is this bullet definitely did not exit. You can see the cavitation event. It adds up with Chris Mortensen's theory on it, even though he doesn't, he thinks the shot came from a different place. And let me tell you, that's entirely possible. But with understanding more information, it's also entirely possible it happened just like they're telling us it did. My perspective is we need to wait and get more information on this. I'm not of the mindset of there's no way possible it happened like they told us. I'm not of that mindset because I don't have all the information. Go watch this video. It's Phoenix Ammunition, and Phoenix is Phoenix. Watch it on X. It says ballistic review of the Charlie Kirk assassination. Why Candace Owens is an idiot. Go watch it. This guy was just speaking my language about the various factors that just are not known. And he absolutely has a ton of experience firing and testing ammunition. And so he's telling you from his perspective some of the things he's seen and how people saying there's no way possible of this or that while testing a freaking pig or whatever. He's like, that is nowhere close to an accurate scientific test to be able to make definitive statements. And that's his point. All right. That's it on Candace Owens and the Charlie Kirk assassination. Let me get a couple other things on here before I go to break. Republicans let us down again. The U.S. House has advanced a bill to overturn President Trump's executive order after 13 Republicans voted with Democrats, ending Trump's crackdown on federal worker unions. The 13 Republicans are Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, Nicole Malliotakis of New York, Nick LaLota of New York, Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania, Rob Bresnahan of Pennsylvania, Don Bacon, big surprise, Nebraska, Mike Lawler, New York, Tom Keene of New Jersey. These are all places, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, where, unions run rampant. Ryan McKenzie of Pennsylvania, Zach Nunn of Iowa, Chris Smith of New Jersey, Pete Stauber of Minnesota, and Mike Turner of Ohio. So they voted against the crackdown on these federal worker unions. So thanks a lot. Thanks for nothing, Republicans. It was a 222 to 220 vote. More disappointment from Republicans. John Thune was asked by President Trump. President Trump truthed this out. I am hereby asking Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a fantastic guy, to get something done, ideally the termination of blue slips. Too many great Republicans are being sent packing. None are getting approved. Blue slips. I've told you about this. Basically, for these U.S. attorneys and some of these judges, there's this blue slip exception where the senators from whatever state that these appointments are happening in, the senators from those states can submit their blue slip and say, we don't want this. We don't want this candidate, this nominee, and they're done. And they have to move on to the next. Well, Democrats have been doing this in all these different states, blocking every nominee for U.S. attorney and other and these judges that Trump has. This is not the kind of way it's ever happened before. They've blocked all of them. And so the days for, this is the way it's always been done are over.
Thune, a fantastic guy.
John Thune asked about it now.
Ideally, the termination of blue slips. Too many great Republicans are being sent packing. None are getting approved. And signed, President GJT. Can you explain to people just real quickly what a blue slip is, and are you going to do something that will deal with his concerns?
Well, this is something that applies just to district court judges and U.S. attorneys, and it allows individuals, the senators from those states, to be able to sign off on the people who are nominated to those positions. That doesn't apply to circuit court judges, obviously doesn't apply to Supreme Court judges. And we have moved his nominees through the process at a record rate. We will, by the end of this year, have a record number of his nominees approved to the executive branch. Got his cabinet confirmed at the fastest rate possible. We'll continue to work on the judiciary, Dana, but this is a procedure that's been in place for a long time that both Republicans and Democrats support, because it gives them some input particularly in those judges, the judicial appointments that are made in their individual states, some input into that decision-making process.
So you don't anticipate changing it?
I don't think it's going to change. It's been in place for a long time. And like I said, there are Republicans on the Judiciary Committee and off the Judiciary Committee, for that matter, who support this and support it strongly.
All right, Senator John Thune, thank you.
Well, that's a big letdown, a big bunch of crap. I tweeted this out earlier. If you like it, go and retweet it. By the way, we need you to hit the thumbs up on this live. I forgot to say that earlier. Hit the thumbs up if you like this broadcast. Heart the post if you're watching on X, and repost, share this episode. Please do so. Of course, we want to say thank you and welcome to our new friends watching on the Right Side Broadcast Network, on X, and on YouTube. Make sure you follow me as well on X at Ike Wingate. It's on the bottom of your screen. My handle is on the bottom of your screen. There you go. And, of course, you can also follow me and subscribe to me on YouTube and Rumble and all the other channels that I have. They're posted on my website at IkeReport.com if you want to follow me, subscribe, and all that good stuff. IkeReport.com. If you want to give to help us cover our hard costs and contribute to our mission to bring this content to you, you can do so with a $5, $10, $20 contribution to help us cover our costs right now by going to IkeReport.com, and our Cash App and our Venmo link is set up to where you can just give directly $5, $10, $20, and that is also at IkeReport.com. Back to this tweet, and if you like it, go ahead and heart it and repost it. But Thune denying Trump's request to eliminate the blue slip because it's a long-standing tradition. My opinion is continuing the blue slip and filibuster because that's the way it's always been done is stupid. There used to be decorum and virtue in Congress, not Democrat sabotage. The game has changed. Republicans need to adapt if they want to win. That's how I feel about it. The days of a gentleman's agreement or the days of tradition are over because the Democrats have sabotaged. They've weaponized and they've absolutely played dirty when it comes to blocking the agenda for Trump. I mean, they haven't let any of these nominees through. Republicans have never done that to Democrats. And so John Thune acting like it's business as usual, the status quo, I think is a horrible move. And again, we're in December and they're talking about, oh, we're going to get them through next year. You've had an entire year to do it. What the heck are you doing? They're just trying to slow walk everything. I mean, the Congress has been a major letdown as far as codifying these executive orders that President Trump has signed into law. Congress hasn't codified hardly anything, and they haven't even gotten all these nominees through. I mean, it's ridiculous. Where is the political will? Where's the fire? Where's the passion to win for the American people? Where is it? Because it just seems like I'm trying to draw the clock out as long as possible. That's what it looks like. And both chambers are guilty, the House and the Senate. Republicans is who I'm talking to. The Democrats are a lost cause. You're not going to be able to count on them. Get rid of the filibuster. Democrats will do it the next chance they have in the Senate. Without a doubt, mark me, I will absolutely bet money on it. So what are you waiting for? You're going to look like real idiots that you wasted the opportunity to have the executive branch and the legislative branch and the Supreme Court, and you flubbed it. Democrats will do it as soon as they have the chance. Quit acting like there is some sort of standard of behavior or professionalism in Congress. There's not. Democrats screwed that up a long time ago. I think it's indefensible. It's completely exhausting. I'm so fatigued with it. Let's talk a little bit about gerrymandering before we take our first break here. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. The Terminator. Went on Jake Tapper's show to talk about this redistricting, talking about 45% of the people vote in New Mexico for Trump. They have zero representation in Congress. Anyway, take a look.
Republican Party is starting this.
No, Jake. There has been gerrymandering going on for 200 years. There is such extreme gerrymandering going on that in a state like Massachusetts, that has like 40% of the people voting for Trump, they have zero representatives. The Republican Party has zero representatives sent to the House. Think about that. In New Mexico, if 45% of the people voted for Trump and voted Republican, and zero is sent to the House, zero representative from the Republican Party. So there's gerrymandering, crazy gerrymandering going on all over the country. And we wanted to try to stop it in California. And we did stop it in California. And we went around the country. So I think this whole thing about finger pointing and saying they did it, so therefore we should doing it, that's not really the way to go. The one party should outperform the other party. It should be performance. And when it comes to midterm elections, as you know, always the party that is not in the White House usually wins by 20, 25, 30 seats. So what does 5 seats matter in the first place in Texas? It is crazy. We should outperform them. That is where the action is.
Let's talk about another issue.
Yeah. Okay, Jake Tapper, you're saying that Republicans started this? What an idiot. I mean, this is also the guy who told us that Joe Biden was, completely, mentally fit and competent. And then he wrote a book about how he wasn't and made a bunch of money off of it and acted like he didn't. Fake Tapper. Oh, yeah. Republicans started gerrymandering. Bull crap. The Democrats have been doing it for decades. Of course, the Arnold there says for 200 years they've been doing it. I haven't gone back that far and looked. But you got 45% of people that voted for Trump, 45% voting Republican in some of these states, and no representation in Congress based on the way they've been drawing these districts. It's unacceptable. And again, Finally, in some of these states, some of the Republicans get it and go, you know what? They've been doing this a long time. It is time to fight back and fight fire with fire. Do the same thing they've been doing. And that's what's happening finally. But for a long time, Republicans are like, no, we can't stoop to that level. Okay, then kiss your country goodbye. We didn't start it, but we're damn sure going to end it. How about that? Cash me outside. How about that? Quit playing this game of croquet while they're over here playing Hunger Games. It's ridiculous. Oh, let me put on my polo shirt and go out and have a nice spot of tea, and I'll have myself a scone, and then we'll start the competition with these croquet balls and these croquet clubs or whatever they're called or whatever. Meanwhile, the Democrats are like, may the odds be ever in your favor, right? Totally different methodologies. They're playing for keeps. They're the ones that broke the seal on decorum and virtue, and they're going to pummel you by skirting these rules and doing their own thing, and nobody ever checks them on it. And you're over here playing patty cake while our country goes to hell in a handbasket. Nut up, get in the game, stop acting like a wuss, and get ready to go to battle. It's time to fight. It's time to do redistricting. It's time to get rid of the filibuster. It's time to get rid of blue slips. It is time to play to win. We have a narrow window, and there's no urgency. Completely frustrating. Vice President J.D. Vance. By the way, thank you to David Sling and Bree for reposting this broadcast on X. We appreciate that. Everybody else, do the same. Help us out. Repost the broadcast or heart the post and repost on X. And if you give a contribution or you repost, I will say your name. So please do that right now. If you want to support us monetarily, you can do so via Cash App or Venmo at IkeReport.com. The vice president chiming in, Rod Bray, the Senate leader in Indiana. This is where they've had this sort of battle going on. Indiana's redistricting, and let's see, one side voted, the House of Representatives in Indiana voted to advance the new redistricting map for Indiana, but the Senate is him-hawing around. And J.D. Vance said this on X. Rod Bray, the Senate leader in Indiana, has consistently told us he would not fight redistricting while simultaneously whipping his members against it. That level of dishonesty cannot be rewarded, and the Indiana GOP needs to choose a side. Again, J.D. Vance gets it. This guy gets it. The days of old are over. This is the reality Democrats have created, and you must operate in the reality of the current game. You want to go back to, old rules where there's no three-pointer in the NBA and you couldn't take more than 2 steps? Well, then you're going to fall behind, because Democrats are shooting threes and they're using the Euro step and they're dunking on us. And it is time to learn how to do those things. Start popping threes and start taking 8 steps like they do in the NBA, because the rules allow that now. Just trying to give you some analogies to equate it. All right, before we go to break, this little nugget. This is Gavin Newsom and failed VP candidate Tim Walz, the mayor of Minnesota, where it's rampant with fraud. And that story just keeps growing, by the way, all the fraud in Minnesota. You got CBS now finally reporting it. And so the story's not going away. But anyway, they're on this podcast or whatever. You got Newsom like doing this weird thing with his thumbs, like his thumbs are running a race. And then you have Tim Walz saying that he scared people because he was so masculine, because he could fix a truck. I mean, Dumb and Dumber right here. Take a look.
But I think this notion of toxicity and masculinity needs to be separated. And I think it's been conflated. And I think we're going to have to work on that a little bit. And I think
Look at the dude's thumbs. Look what he's doing with the thumbs. Just watch the thumbs.
And I think we're going to have to work on that a little bit. I think
it's like he's pedaling a bike with his thumbs.
Look, there is a crisis.
I think some of us
while pointing at himself.
Scare him. I think I scare him a little bit. Why they spend so much time on it. No, I'm serious, because I can fix a truck. They know I'm not bullshitting on this. Yeah. I'm not putting this in people's grill. I don't know if my identity is not hunting. My identity is not football coaching. My identity is not, a beard and a truck.
My identity is not a beard in a truck. No, it seems like it's more like jazz hands and yoga. I don't know. There's nothing masculine about Tim Walz, and nobody was scared of whatever this version of masculinity is. Everybody was annoyed by him and didn't believe him because it comes off as a total faker. It does not look like he really is attracted to or loves his wife in that way, more like they're roommates. And that's the way it comes across. I mean, people can tell. I understand his wife's no looker, but neither is he. And they've been married for a long time, but it doesn't seem like he's really into that kind of thing, if you know what I'm saying. And people picked up on that. They didn't believe the guy. Oh, also the dude had stolen valor and lied about every freaking thing possible, right? And now he's implicated in these fraud connections. There's been no charges or anything, but I think things are only going to get worse. But yeah, people are afraid of him. People are afraid. Mostly Penny says wine cooler and hybrid car. Yeah, that's the vibe. That's the vibe that Tim Walz puts off. Certainly, wine cooler, hybrid car. I'd say that's well stated there. Thank you. All right, let's take a quick break and come back with the trade deficit, which is better than expected, plus that oil tanker raid. Did you see that? Have you seen any of the imagery from that raid? It looks freaking cool. And also the war on whites. The war on white people. It's all on the way for you. You're watching the Ike Wingate Show. Back after this.
Oh, hey. Didn't see you there. Well, just hanging out on the farm here. One thing I was thinking about this morning is, when's the next crisis going to hit? It's not really a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And we really can't rely on the government to take care of a shortage or something like that. We just got to take care of ourselves. You remember back in COVID, you tried to go to the store and everything was gone? Well, you can't risk that kind of thing. That's why I suggest My Patriot Supply. You can go to preparewithike.com and get your 4-week emergency food kit. Save $50 when you use my URL. Again, it is preparewithike.com. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And the question is, when it does happen, will your family eat? Make sure there's no question about it. Take action now. Save $50. 4-week emergency food kit. Preparewithike.com. Fourscore and 7 years ago, there used to be men in this country. Now this country's full of a bunch of weenie men. You think about all the stuff that's in the water, plastics, microplastics, there's estrogen everywhere. In fact, compared to 100 years ago, men have half the testosterone that they used to. Look, it's not like getting shot in the back of the head. All you need to do is take chalk once every day, and you can boost your testosterone for fun things that require your energy, like working out or playing sports or actually spending time with your kids. I wish I could do that, but I can't because I'm dead. But if I were alive, I would take chalk. The Patriots at Chalk combine the most powerful herbal extracts, so it's all natural, giving you that lift that you need. George, come spot me.
Well, Abe, if I too were alive, I'd gladly spot you.
It's time to boost your testosterone to levels not seen since 1776 or 1860 or 1864, whatever. But it's herbal. It's natural. It's made in the USA. It's been clinically studied to boost testosterone. We're talking about shock. Okay? Stop being all weird with this trends and everything else. We didn't have that back in my day. We had real men. It's time to get boosted back to those levels when men were men and women were women and there wasn't anything in between. Right, Mary?
Yes, Lincoln.
That's right. Get chalk. IceWingate.com. Get chalk. If you want to be like me, get chalk. Except for the dead part. Okay. IceWingate.com.
Hey there! Tired of watching your subscription costs climb higher and higher? With Q Broadcast, you get more for less. All your favorite channels and content bundled into one unbeatable package. No contracts, no hidden fees, just simple, affordable streaming. Say goodbye to overpriced services and hello to a new era of entertainment. This is streaming the way it should be. Q Broadcast, this changes everything.
You can sign up for Q Streaming today at IkeWingate.com. Just click Get Q Streaming to start streaming tons of channels, video on demand, even pay-per-view, all for the same price. It's all included. This is a Christian conservative-owned company that does not hate your values. Stop giving money to the cabal of big tech. Support companies that support your values. Right now at IkeWingate.com, just click Get Q Streaming.
Shining a light into the dark corners of our government, our culture, and our media. Now back to the Ike Wingate Show.
All right, welcome back to the Ike Wingate Show. You might have noticed that we fixed the audio clip problem that we had the other day. Did you notice that? Yeah, I apologize. Some kind of weird update. Anyway, I'm glad we're able to get the clips back on the air. If you would like to be part of our community here, you can be part of our Ike Nation Locals group. Basically, it's just a online community where we post updates from time to time, and you can interact with other members of Ike Nation. It's free. If you want to support us, you can sign up for a monthly contribution that'll be automatically deducted if you want to do that, but it's completely optional. And if you're interested, it's on our Rumble page. The address is rumble.com/ the Ike Wingate Show, or you can go directly to Ike Nation, ikenation.locals.com. You want to contribute to help us cover our costs to bring you this compelling, stunning, very well done content. You can do so by giving $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, $300, $1,000, whatever you'd like to do. You remember there was a couple times we had some big days like that where some people unloaded a lot, and then we haven't seen them since. If you'd like to help us out, $5, $10, $20, whatever it is, you can do so at IkeReport.com. Our Venmo and our Cash App links are set up there if you'd like to be part of what we're doing here. I don't take a dime. The money just goes straight back into covering our hard costs to bring you this content. And, of course, you can subscribe to the show on Rumble for $5 a month. You can follow, of course, for free. You can follow me on X for free at Ike Wingate. Please do that right now. We're trying to get over 4,000 followers. It is just such a slow grind to build audience on X, but help us out right now. Follow me at Ike Wingate on X. All my social platforms, including the links to give, including the Rumble channel, the X handle, all that stuff can be found at my website, IkeReport.com, IkeReport.com, if you are interested. Okay, let's see. Yes, let's go now to this deficit number. September trade deficit comes in better than expected. $52 billion would be the lightest going back to 2020. Yeah, that's right. It's weird when you start to compare all these interesting milestones, how the last time, well, this hasn't happened since Donald Trump was president before. Jeez, imagine that, right? We're talking about gas prices, lowest gas prices in 4 years. Oh, who is president then? Oh, President Trump. Oh, yeah. Okay, got it. Or 5 years, actually, is where a lot of them. Sorry, 5 years. That hasn't happened in 5 years. Well, that was when President Trump was in charge of stuff, and it was going much better economically. And, of course, it's just going to take some time to unwind and unravel the bull crap that Biden got us into. But the deficit has it's been quite large trade deficit. Basically, we're buying a lot more stuff from other countries than they're buying from us. Take a look at this from CNBC earlier.
Trade balance minus 52.8 billion. That's a better, lower trade deficit than we expected. We were looking for a number closer to 62 billion, and that follows a revised minus 59 billion. Minus 52 billion would be the lightest going back to, wow, we're really going back. Well, my records go back to 1992, and to find a smaller number than minus 52 billion, we're all the way back to June of 2020. Trade.
Okay. June of 2020. I think that's only going to get better, my friends. And, let me talk about the economy real quick. Let me see what the next clip is. Is this about the economy? No. All right. So let me make this statement here. Let me work on my talking points here. This is where I work out my talking points with you guys, and of course, a lot of your feedback helps me. I see somebody saying, "Well, there was a global pandemic." Yeah, there was. What's your point? What's your point? That it was the pandemic that made the gas prices go low? Give me a break. There were record low gas prices before any pandemic happened because of the policies, not the pandemic, but good try. Anyway, on the economy, people say, well, things haven't improved fast enough. President Trump's been in there all this time. Well, President Trump, not only did he get egg prices down right away, because people were complaining about that. They did something about that right away. And obviously gas prices are a process. President Trump said gas prices would be lower were it not for having to restock the strategic oil reserve that Biden gutted. Otherwise, prices would be even lower. Jacobs up in Oregon says that gas prices are still $4 a gallon. Give it time. Give it time. It's that's because of a lot of the liberal policies and taxes in the places that you live, which is not Trump's fault, right? But still, I feel your pain, but give it time. But people say President Trump's taken too long, even though all these factors have been working in the right direction. It took 4 years to create this crap storm, and they want it cleaned up in 2 minutes. But anyway, President Trump could have taken the shortcut route, kind of like Biden did, pushing for another stimulus, even though he should have known, somebody should have known that was going to really jack up our economy from a, inflation standpoint. Many people look at that in retrospect and say that was the tipping point. And then to add insult to injury, they went and passed that stupid Inflation Reduction Act, which did the exact opposite of that, by the way, pumping all kinds of artificial money out there from the government. So it all hurt. But those were easy, wins that Biden could get to try to garner, some level of loyalty or support. He took the easy way out, the cheap way out. President Trump could have done the same thing. President Trump could have said, all right, we're going to send a stimulus. President Trump could have said, oh, we're going to pass, a bill to pump a bunch of money from the government back into, these various projects or whatever. He could have done a ton of things that were cheap and easy to do, but were going to be harmful. He did the opposite of that. President Trump actually did the prudent thing, the responsible thing, in that he said, you know what we've got to do? The big problem right now is we have this massive trade deficit. We are losing jobs. The middle class is getting killed in our country. We have to bring investment back to this country. We have to bring, manufacturing back to this country. We've got to level the playing field as far as being able to export our goods to other countries, because we're not going to have the economy we need when we're getting ripped off. And, then we need other people to invest in where the country is going. And obviously he's done a lot for drug prices too. Don't forget that. But President Trump went and did the things that were, 5 miles down the road and said, you know what? We've got to fix these things now. So when we get down there 5 miles from now, it's going to be much smoother and we're going to be going faster. And by the time we hit mile 8, mile 10, whatever, we are cruising. But he could have hit the NOS button, the nitrous, and gone really fast for a little bit and then petered out. He didn't do that. He recognized that the smart thing to do is you've got to go clean up all of these bad deals and all of these ripoffs that are happening and set the table for success. We've got to make sure that the tax cuts stay in place and then some. I mean, think about what's kicking in next year, the no tax on tips and all these other things. We're going to talk about that. But President Trump could have gotten the really early cheap wins, but he's going for quality, longevity, sustainability. And these are the things that Trump has been doing. And so he didn't do that whole facade, that basically that cheap thrill, immediate thing that wasn't lasting. No, he went and gutted the foundation of a lot of these things to set it up for success. So that's to his credit. He's doing the things that can create real incremental long-term success. But politically, he could have gotten cheap wins early on that would have put us in a bad spot, but would have felt good for a little bit, but he didn't do that. He's going for the healthy scenario for our economy, not the sugar rush, if that makes sense. So, all right, now we move on to the oil tanker seized by the United States, the skipper full of oil, from going to this was sanctioned. Okay, this oil was sanctioned. It should have never been traveling. The oil tanker the U.S. seized was the skipper. It started around 6 a.m. on Wednesday, involving 2 helicopters with Special Operations Forces, 10 Marines, 10 Coast Guard, and launched from a U.S. military vessel. It was carrying crude oil used to transport sanctioned oil from Venezuela to Iran. I mean, there's so much terrorist, inner workings and intertwining that is happening with Iran and Russia and China inside of Venezuela. But they published the unclassified video of this seizure where you see them drop the ropes from the helicopters, and I mean, it's straight out of a movie, and board the vessel and take it over and seize it. And eventually the U.S. is going to get all the oil on this tanker. But it was certainly an escalation in this conflict that we have going on with Venezuela to get them to quit funding terrorism and helping terrorist states or groups, as well as flooding our country with the worst of the worst. They're criminals. And, then also basically being a leader in the cartel operation in Venezuela, Maduro. And so pretty big operation there and incredible visuals. All right, now let's talk about the war on white people. This is an example of a classic white liberal Karen. It's always the white liberal women that are just some of the dumbest people on the planet. They mistake their empathy, their misplaced empathy for nobility. And all it's doing is putting their friends, neighbors, and children in harm's way. Kentucky lawmaker Sarah Stalker is her name, claims that K-12 schools should give white students a chance to confront feelings about their racial identity. Okay, let's take a look.
Feel good about being white every day. I'm going to be honest. I don't feel good about being white every day.
She doesn't feel good about being white every day.
For a lot of reasons. Because it's a point of privilege that I get to move through the world in a way that so many of my other colleagues and friends and family members of the community don't get the privilege to do.
What a brainwashed person, huh? Let me define everything by my race. I feel guilty about being white. I'm privileged for being white. You know how many freaking poor people there are that are white? There are more poor white people than I think there are poor anybody else, just because there's a lot of white people. Go take a look. There are plenty of poor white people out there. What about them? Were they just born the wrong shade of white or what?
And I'm just a female, but just a woman, just a white woman.
I'm just a white woman. Really? That's your identity, huh?
If I was a white man, I would be functioning from a point of an even greater privilege.
Really? Okay. A white man is the most privileged. There are plenty of white men that are not born into a scenario that you would want to be in. Why don't you go look, through the Appalachia region, see all the privileged white men there are there.
I think we're missing an opportunity when kids have a moment to reflect about how the color of their skin does and does not allow them to move through the world. Running to them and trying to stifle that and trying to say you shouldn't feel bad. So we don't want to ever expose you to something that is going to make you have to pause and have maybe some internal feelings. It's a missed opportunity for some really good dialogue.
Wow. This is sad. This is sick. And, this person is a lawmaker in Kentucky who's ashamed of her whiteness. I'm sorry. There's nothing wrong with being white. I'm going to say it. I'm tired of people saying bullcrap like this, especially because it comes from stupid liberal white women. Who cares about what your race is? Quit walking around identifying as your race and quit demonizing anybody's race. You're part of the problem. Before Obama came in and made everything about race, racism was really not a thing that people talked about. It's because they freaking talk about it ad nauseum. It's created more racism. And let me tell you, I'm not specifically talking about racism that regards that, is white people being racist. It's people racist against white people because everyone talks about how white people have perfect lives because they're white, which is not true. But that doesn't stop them from saying it. There is the demonization of white people all the time, especially from liberal white people.
Be a minority, and that's great.
Whites will not be the majority. I mean, it's an exciting transformation of the country. It's an exciting evolution and progress of our country.
We are going to be a white minority very, very soon. I'm okay with that.
If things are so bad, as you say, with the white working class, don't you want to get new Americans in?
America is going to look very different in 100 years. You're not going to be able to tell you're black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're Puerto Rican, whatever. It's going to be very complex, and I think ultimately that's going to be good.
White Americans feel that they're losing their country, they're losing ownership of the country, and they're right. In the end, they are not the future.
For the first time in American history, the number of white people went down.
Why would you cheer for that? Bunch of freaking racists.
White population is declining for the first time in history in America.
White people will not be the majority in the country anymore.
This will be the first generation ever in American history in which whites will be a minority.
Treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity.
To abolish whiteness is to abolish white people.
White people are committed to being villains in the aggregate, right? We got to take these motherfuckers out.
Was it or was it not the duty of every good revolutionary to kill all newborn white babies?
We have to kill white people.
When do we start killing white people?
I don't want to say we need to go start killing all white folks, but it's like, but maybe.
When we say we want to kill whitey, we don't really mean we want to kill whitey, we do.
We have to exterminate white people off of the face of the planet to solve this problem.
Fuck white people!
An unrelenting stream of immigration, non-stop. Folks like me who are Caucasian of European descent will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
And white Americans will soon be a minority.
Okay. This is what people want. This is what white people want. Good luck with that. White people are the problem. I'm sorry. White people are responsible for a lot of the civilized and advancement of our society. I'm just telling you, when you look at where we are, white people had a lot to do with it. Nobody should be calling for the extermination of anyone based on race. And here's the solution, my friends. White people, start having babies. Have a lot of babies. We need to anyway. The birth rate is down. So start having a bunch of babies. That's the only way you're going to win. But look, it shouldn't be about winning and losing. We should be about a strong America. But when you have different division that's occurring in our country that's aimed at taking out a group of people because of their race, that is wrong. And we've agreed as white people that it's wrong. And that's why white people were some of the first to end slavery. Did you forget about that? There were plenty of black people that owned slaves. And oh, by the way, slavery was happening all over the world. So this isn't a specifically white problem. This is just a humanity problem because everyone's owned slaves, but it's just white people that are demonized. But we've agreed that is a bad idea to demonize a group of people based on their race, yet it is happening, and it is being celebrated and is being pushed and advocated for by dumb white people because that's what makes them feel good. They think it's nobility, but it's totally misdirected, toxic empathy that is going to end up, destroying our country because of these stupid people that are advocating for this. There is a war on white people. There's a demonization of white people. And my gosh, if you're a white man, you're the worst thing that could ever happen, huh? I'm telling you, at some point, white people, specifically white men, are just going to get so tired of being demonized for trying to love our country, love our families, love God, and be a productive member of society that doesn't suck off of the government teat. They're going to get tired of it eventually, and there's going to be bad things that probably happen. I'm not advocating for that or pushing that. I'm just saying you can only demonize a group of people that are powerful for so long until they say, I'm fed up with being told I'm the worst thing about history and society when I am one of the best parts about history and society when you look at the accomplishments and advancements and the civilization of this Western Hemisphere. Doesn't mean it wasn't messy or things didn't happen along the way that you wish could have happened differently, but the white man is only going to take it for so long. I'm just telling you. It doesn't end up good if you continue to demonize people that have a lot of power. It's ridiculous. People are they've gone mad. I think we need to start celebrating whiteness. I hate that kind of idea, like identifying as your race. But if you're going to demonize it all the time, well, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm not going to stand for it. I'm going to push back and celebrate it. Okay? Doesn't matter that we can't dance. What matters is we've been major contributors. This country was built on the work of white people. People say, oh, this country was built on the backs of slaves. It was not. It was not. The economy of the South was centered around a lot of slave labor, but 2% of people owned slaves. Come on, give me a break. This country was not built on the backs of slaves. It's a horrible part in history, but our country's just like a lot of other countries, okay? So let's just quit demonizing our country specifically. But I don't like identifying as a race, but if you're going to demonize the race, well, then we, by golly, might as well celebrate it and have White Month. Why don't we have White Appreciation Month? Wham! If you're going to do that, why not? I mean, how can you say we can't? Well, because you're just totally privileged. Well, not anymore. If that were ever true, it sure isn't anymore because we're demonized. You don't believe me? That people are triggered by whiteness? Look at what Pantone did. Pantone named a shade of white as its color of the year, and people went crazy on the left. I talked about it on Newsmax recently. Take a look.
Well, it's a controversy of the day for those on the left. The latest comes as popular color design company Pantone announced its color of the year for 2025. That color, known as Cloud Dancer, it's a shade of white, off-white really. Some online have called the choice dystopian, saying it evokes, you guessed it, white supremacy. Here's how some on the left decided to respond on social media. Watch.
You're fired. You really chose white? You chose white in these times? You're fired.
Well, Ike Wingate and Madeline Sullivan, they're back with us to discuss this latest controversy there. Ike, I got to start with you first. This is about the color of paint swatches here. Cloud Dancer, it's off-white. Your thoughts? Why are we talking about this?
White woman who is very upset about this. It's just looking for something to be outraged over because it's white. I mean, are we going to hear next that these people hate the color of clouds or they don't like snow now? Is that racist? How about healthy teeth? Are those racist? Or maybe when you go to a hotel and you have the towels in your hotel room, to me, the whiter, the better. But somehow they'll, somehow find that racist too. It's ridiculous. It's just the next iteration of the Sydney Sweeney type outrage. We probably wouldn't even know about it if it weren't for all these online ragers anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Let's start demonizing snow and the towels at the hotel and let's, white teeth. We can't have white teeth. That's racist. I mean, that's about as logical as people getting upset about a freaking color that's white. I mean, it's absurd, right? I mean, to them, everything about their, identity is their skin color. I mean, do you go around thinking about your skin color like white pride? I mean, who does that? Who goes around or, oh, I'm so white and I'm so embarrassed over it. The amount of times my race comes into being, the only time it ever happens is if someone is talking about how bad white people are. I don't think about it. It's not a point of pride. It's just the way I was born and I have no control over it. And the fact that people would demonize me or anyone because of the color of their skin is freaking stupid. It's stupid. It's like demonizing someone everybody who has a size 9 foot, they're privileged or whatever. I mean, that's just dumb. You have no control over the size of your feet, but yet being demonized over it would be absurd. Same thing with skin color. Okay. Now, let's look at something kind of funny. Okay. You have the FIFA World Cup. They do this drawing to find out which cities and which teams will be competing when as part of this whole FIFA thing. Well, what's funny is the city of Seattle is having a Pride Month celebration. June 26th is their LGBT Pride Night match during the 2026 World Cup. So it's already set. The teams that were going to play had not been decided, but they already decided, hey, tonight is the night we're going to get sassy. And so they're going to do this Pride Night. Guess who the teams are that were drawn by random order to compete during Pride Night in Seattle? Iran and Egypt. Iran follows strict Sharia law. Homosexuality is punishable by flogging, imprisonment, or death. In 2021, 2 gay men were executed for sodomy in Iran. Several other examples. Egypt uses debauchery laws to imprison people for same-sex acts for up to 3 years. In Egypt, law enforcement uses dating apps to hunt people down in case they're acting gay. And then they're in trouble. These 2 countries with some of the strictest, gay laws in the world, these 2 countries' teams are going to be competing in Seattle during Pride Night. So that is the irony there. The irony. Seattle's like, we're not changing it. Okay. Good luck with that, right? Good luck with that. All right. Here's an inconvenient truth for all the Hamas lovers out there. Hamas hid tons of baby formula to damage Israel with starvation claims, a Palestinian activist says. Okay. Oh, wait, I thought these stories weren't real. You got Israel trucking in tons of aid and Hamas not giving it to the people and saying, oh, Israel's doing it. Israel is starving us, which I don't know why Israel should be responsible for feeding them, but nonetheless. But now this Palestinian activist has come out and accused the terror group of hoarding food meant for infants and young children to purposely increase starvation in Gaza and damage the public perception of Israel. They would literally kill their own children to make Israel look bad. Footage shared by this activist, Al-Khatib, on social media shows the inside of the alleged Gaza warehouse with hundreds of packages of baby formula and nutritional shakes just sitting there. During the worst of the days of the hunger crisis in Gaza in the past 6 months, Hamas deliberately hid literal tons of infant formula and nutritional shakes for children by storing them in clandestine warehouses belonging to the Gaza Ministry of Health. So, yeah, Israel's the problem, right? That's what you're going to say. Hamas isn't doing anything. Well, you got this guy who's got video footage inside these Gaza warehouses, these Hamas warehouses, while children are starving. There's plenty for them, but this is all in the name of making Israel look bad. These people are evil. Quit lying to yourself and telling you that this is a one-sided genocide. It is not. All right. What's keeping Democrats up at night? Well, it is the fact that President Trump's economic agenda is literally ready to explode. Democrats are panicked about what's going to come in 2026. These major Trump policies take effect in our economy. No taxes on tips, no tax on overtime, Social Security deduction, no tax on American-made car loan interest, and the Green New Scam regulations cut, lowering costs of cars by $1,000 to $2,000, and the child tax credit expansion to $2,200 per child indexed to inflation. And so Democrats are going to try to do everything they can to muddy the waters because these will be truly felt in the pocketbook of Americans in 2026.
The max reduction for tips is $25,000. So imagine if you are somebody who uses tips as part of your salary or to make your living, that will have an impact. The senior deduction, you have to be 65 years old. It phases out at $75,000. But again, for people who are saying gas prices, which are lower, but that food prices are higher, that it's hard for them, that might help as well. There's a no tax on car loan interest. Now, that can be helpful, but what might be even more helpful is what they announced last week, which is they're doing away with some of the EPA rules on these car and fuel mileage. That actually will help bring the cost of cars down probably even more. And then a child tax credit expansion. That's very bipartisan. A lot of people like this. A lot of people love to see good economic news, but I would say Josh Holmes, our next guest here. Josh, you know communications very well. To me, economic communications is one of the hardest things. If the economy is great, everyone feels it. If it doesn't feel so great, it's hard to convince people that it's going so well. One question for you. How important is it to find the right ratio for President Trump to say, look what I inherited from President Biden, but also to look ahead at what's to come?
Yeah, well, listen, I think President Trump is doing exactly what he needs to do in terms of getting out there and selling this. You cannot let Democrats frame an affordability debate.
Okay. So, yeah, that's what's coming. A couple interesting things here. Somebody named Sugar Plum, I think I've seen this person on YouTube before, says, do you actually believe that story about Hamas and that baby formula? Do you actually believe that story? More like it couldn't be distributed because Israel was bombing them. Okay, this is the problem I'm talking about. This is the mind virus. That nothing is true that makes Hamas look bad and Israel innocent. Nothing is possible. You literally reject anything. You literally reject pictures and videos in front of you from someone inside of this facility. And it has been documented over and over and over that they have destroyed these food aid convoys and don't allow them to get to the people. This has been documented. I know people that have been on the ground and have witnessed truck after truck after truck of aid heading into Gaza. Israel is allowing these third-party aid organizations to bring it in. What happens after that is not up to Israel. It is up to the Palestinians and Hamas. And you literally have pictures of this baby formula. Oh, well, it's because Israel was bombing them and they couldn't distribute it. Really? Israel hasn't been bombing them every moment of every day. That is ridiculous. And you're totally deceived because everything that you see is going to be Israel's fault, no matter what. So you're a lost cause. You don't believe anything that contradicts your point of view. I have sat here and said, I don't believe that Israel is innocent of everything. I've been very honest. But the people that are so anti-Israel, they don't believe any news, any evidence, any information that exonerates Israel of wrongdoing or that implicates Hamas. They just flat out reject it. Something somewhere has to be true. I know people like this. Literally, no, well, we don't know that that's true. We don't know that October 7th happened. We literally have the video of the people doing it. Well, we don't know. That could have been anybody. That could have been the IDF. Bull crap. Bull crap. When someone is that indoctrinated and someone is that dug in, forget it. You're a lost cause. You don't care about the truth. All you care about is your own vendetta against them. The truth doesn't matter to you. So what's the point in talking to you about it anymore? You're a lost cause. I won't do it anymore. I know people that are dug in on this. They won't change. And I just don't talk to them about it anymore because I'm not going to waste my freaking time. I'm just not going to do it. And you shouldn't do it either because there are people that are so dug in on this. They literally will reject evidence that is presented before their very eyes. And I mean, I don't know who Sugar Plum is, but that's exactly what you seem like because you literally just said that somehow Israel was responsible for Hamas doing this. At some point, you have to believe something when it's presented to your face. And I'm so tired of it because it's literally like people are walking around with a brain disease while masquerading as if they're intelligent. But they're literally obsessed with this idea that Israel is the enemy of everything. I think it's super freaking destructive, cancerous, and toxic. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. We just got a $100 contribution via Cash App from Rebecca. Thank you very much, Rebecca. You are awesome. $100 on the board from Rebecca to help us with our mission and cover our costs here, Rebecca. You are an amazing person and a fine American patriot. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm assuming your nationality. Thank you so much, Rebecca. $100 via Cash App. You too can support what we're doing and give to help us cover our costs via Cash App or Venmo at IkeReport.com. All right, got a couple things for you. A stunning new report shows just how broken Obamacare's subsidy system is. Speaker Mike Johnson spoke on this. 23 of 24 fraudulent applications were approved. 18 are still receiving coverage. Tens of thousands of duplicate Social Security numbers have been used, and $94 million paid for dead people. Yeah, these subsidies to Obamacare are a wreck, and they must be overhauled. Rebecca says, sorry, I missed you lately. Thank you, Rebecca. You are awesome. Thank you so much. Remember, all of our shows are available in the past in case you miss them at my YouTube page or on our Rumble channel, X feed as well. At IkeReport.com, just in case you miss it. Okay, let me see. Let's go here. Yeah, so they definitely need to overhaul this whole Obamacare subsidy thing. Couple quick things. David Sling says that the state of Indiana failed to pass the new redistricting map. I haven't seen that. So that's got to be fairly recent. Hopefully they will put it up for another vote. I don't know. Because the House of Representatives passed it in Indiana, and it was up to the Senate, if I am thinking correctly. Also, the judge in the Charlie Kirk assassination case for Tyler Robinson has ruled that cameras will be allowed. This is a huge win for transparency in the case of the very public assassination of Charlie Kirk. This is the right thing to do. I'm not giving the judge any extra, credibility here, but thankfully he just did the right thing. That's what you definitely need to do. But that is certainly a positive move. So we can look forward to having visibility to this trial. Let me tell you, I don't know when it's going to get going. It's probably a few months yet to go. But this is going to be the biggest thing since the OJ trial, I think. People are going to be glued to it every day that this trial is going on. It's going to create some interesting conundrums for us here in the content business. Right? That's going to be pretty interesting. So we'll see what happens there. By the way, you'll be seeing me a lot more on Newsmax. If you watch Newsmax, you'll be seeing me a lot more here in the next few weeks. Just doing appearances from here in my studio. But I've got several booked appearances already, and they're going to be utilizing me a lot more for these appearances. So be on the lookout for that. I try to let you know ahead of time on my X feed when I'm going to appear if you want to catch me live. But I typically share the clip of what we talk about. But for sure, I'll be on Friday morning at 10 a.m. And I know a lot of people watch this show replayed, but for those watching it live, I'll be on at 9 a.m. Central Time on Friday. 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I will be on Saturday afternoon at 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern time. So Saturday evening. And I will be on Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central. And again at noon Eastern, 11 Central. That's on Monday. And yeah, I've got some others scheduled out, but we'll wait to talk about that once that kind of comes into place. So over the next couple days, several times you'll be able to see there on Newsmax. So when do you get to host your own show on the network? Mostly Penny says. Stay tuned. I hope to at least have a better understanding of when or what that might look like in the next few weeks. Okay. I can't go into a lot of it at this moment. I don't know that it's going to happen. I don't know what that could, what it will or won't be. I just know for sure in the meantime, I will be appearing a lot more. So, great question. Trust me, you will be some of the first people to know if we're able to finally get that done. David Sling says, Newsmax has decided to go with more intelligent and handsome people then. Does that mean your brother's going to be on? Yeah, it's a long-standing joke about my brother being handsome, not me. Yeah. At this moment, they have not booked my brother at this moment. All right, a couple other things here. GOP just released a devastating ad against U.S. Texas Senate candidate Jasmine Crockett. I mean, she's going to run for Senate in Texas. I mean, this is all just about theater. She has no chance.
A clip of a Democrat invoking violence.
Let's extinguish him for good. I will go and take Trump out tonight.
By the way, this is an ad against Jasmine Crockett saying Democrats don't invoke violence against Republicans.
I challenge somebody to go and find a clip of a Democrat invoking violence.
Let's extinguish him for good. I will go and take Trump out tonight.
We're going to fight it in the courts, and we're going to fight it in the streets.
When they go low, we're going to bury them below the Capitol. That's what we're going to do.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Kind of seems like someone's able to put together some clips of Democrats making violent threats, huh? We're just up to number 6.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
We're walking down a damn different path. We're fighting fire with fire. We're going to punch these sons of bitches in the mouth.
By taking behind the gym and beat the hell out of them.
Punch back, kick back, dunk over their heads, and win some fucking power.
Fight back, punch back, and make sure that they stay down. And you know what?
All right. So I'm not going to play the whole clip because it's just more of the same. We know it's been happening. We've seen the clips. And Jasmine Crockett is either dumb or just lying. Maybe, I don't know, both. Gavin Newsom, does anybody look more like Lucifer? Like if you were going to picture what Lucifer looks like, would this not be the picture? I mean, seriously. Anyway, he says he wants more trans kids, is what he says.
So we didn't get into trans sports. That's an issue no one wants to hear about because 80% of the people listening disagree with my position on this. But it comes from my heart, not just my head. It wasn't a political evolution. Your position being that I don't think it's. I want to see trans kids. I have a trans godson. There's no governor that's done more pro-trans legislation than I have, and no one has been a stronger advocate for that.
I want to see trans kids. This is pretty interesting because, he told Charlie Kirk, of all people, he told Charlie Kirk, he thought it was an issue of fairness with trans kids competing, boys competing against women. Now he's kind of gone back. It's like, who is doing all the lobbying for this trans ideology? Is it the medical industrial complex that's lobbying so hard and making these people come out in support of this? All right. An absolutely egregious, just indefensible statement that scumbag Bernie G. Thompson said. Let's see. He's a representative. Okay. Not a senator. He's a congressman from Mississippi. You remember him, big part of the January 6th, commission witch hunt. Bernie Thompson says this is today. He said this in this hearing, that it was an unfortunate accident that happened. The horrific attack on our two great National Guard heroes in D.C. being executed, one of them being executed, one of them is on the mend. He called it an unfortunate accident. An unfortunate accident. No, an unfortunate accident is not what happens when someone is executed. An unfortunate accident is what happens when you stub your toe.
Madam Secretary, you and the gentleman from NCTC reference the unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsman being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
It was a terrorist attack.
wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can
He shot our
respond.
National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question?
Allow me to ask my question. You think a National Guardsman, two of them being shot at point blank range in the head, is an unfortunate accident? This isn't someone pooping their pants when they're 85 years old. This is a heinous, horrific, attempted murder and successful murder, an execution on a brave service member, a female at that, who had her whole life ahead of her. An unfortunate accident is what he calls it. No respect at all.
It was an unfortunate situation. Madam Secretary.
An unfortunate situation. My gosh. An unfortunate accident. They tell you who they really are when you listen to them in the margins. When he's asking a question, he's phrasing it a certain way. He did it on purpose. They show you who they really are. Outside of that hearing for HHS Secretary Kristi Noem, it was a House hearing. She was swarmed by anti-ICE protesters yelling, "You are the modern SS and Gestapo." In the middle of this, Noem was hugging Angel Mom Agnes Gibboni, who lost her son Ronald, shot and killed by a previously deported illegal alien. Now look at the way these animals around her treat all of them. She's holding someone's baby and then hugging this angel mom.
Uses a baby as a political tool while taking babies away from the families. You cannot use a baby as a political tool while you take away the rights of families. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? You're holding a baby. How dare you? You're a child that's separated from their family.
All right. Just insanity. Insanity for advocating on behalf of the people that have lost loved ones, and it was completely preventable because a lot of the time these violent illegal immigrant criminals are repeat offenders and released right back on the streets. Speaking of which, case in point, Maryland man, as Democrats call him, Maryland dad, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a federal judge has ordered the immediate release of this guy from immigration detention. DHS Deputy Secretary Tricia McLaughlin tweeted this out, saying this is naked judicial activism by an Obama-appointed judge. This order lacks any valid legal basis, and we'll continue to fight this tooth and nail in the courts. You know what? It's like, can't this freaking government uphold the law and enforce it like they're supposed to without these activist judges sabotaging, impeding, obscuring? It's just, how much more of this is there going to, I mean, why do we elect a president when judges are more powerful? This is so freaking ridiculous. I'm so tired of it. By the way, Trisha McLaughlin, a couple guys threatened to kill her, by the way. They want to kill Trisha McLaughlin. You see her do a lot of media hits regarding ICE and immigration enforcement. And these two guys were making threats online. They've been arrested. But I mean, think about it. All these people are doing is doing the job to protect the American people, the job that our laws call for. That's all they're doing. And they literally have to keep their identity secret. They have to have security. They have to watch their back. A lot of people have to obscure, their identities, and all for doing their jobs. And they're all getting death threats too. I mean, this is utterly insane. We have lawlessness in our country where people would rather take the side of the victims than the villains, right? Rather than take the side of the victims, they want to take the side of the villains. That's where we are, because we have evil in the world, evil in our country. Up is down, down is up, bitter is sweet, sweet is bitter. They literally have no concept of right and wrong because they fight for what's wrong again and again and again. They're delusional. They're deranged. They don't know how to deal with differing opinions. They resort to violence. They can't win you over with their ideals. They're weak. And this is an example of exactly that in today's Triggered Liberal.
It's time for today's Triggered Liberal.
All right, these groups get together and they just yell. A Portland group, they get together every Wednesday and scream at a park in protest of Donald Trump.
1, 2, 3.
Here's another one. All right, last one. Okay, totally constructive, right? These people are nut jobs. They're completely insane. Warm up the bus. Let's get these people to the loony bin. They don't need to be out in society because they can't handle someone having a different point of view than them politically. And this is what they resort to. Just like they're Rosie O'Donnell, they can't deal with their emotions. They don't understand disappointment. They throw a fit and scream and yell. And God forbid they do something that is productive. Like, I don't know, go get educated on what's going on. Try to input some data into your brain about the harmful effects of immigration, illegal immigration, and the like. And maybe you would come away with it and learn something. Or maybe you get bolstered in your point of view that you want to keep doing that. Well, then why don't you go run for office? Why don't you go do something effectively? But let me tell you, you're not helping a dadgum thing by screaming into the river because you don't like Trump. All you're doing is showing the world that you are one heck of a triggered liberal.
It's time for today's Triggered Liberal.
Yeah, people truly have lost their marbles, haven't they? They've lost their marbles. Let's see here. Let me get over. Bree says, people in this world have lost their ever-loving minds. It is embarrassing, isn't it? I mean, my fellow Americans, what the heck is wrong with you, right? What the heck is wrong with you? Okay, that's going to do it. We've gone a little bit long. We got to run. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you're following me on X at Ike Wingate. Let's get over 4,000 followers. We need about 50 more, maybe 40 more, something like that. So head over to X and follow me at Ike Wingate. If you're watching the show on X, heart the post and repost. My username's in the bottom of the screen. It's on the screen there for you at Ike Wingate. So make sure you are following me on X. All my social channels, the Rumble channel, the YouTube channel, it's all there at IkeReport.com. You can find the links. If you want to support us, again, thank you to Rebecca for the huge contribution, $100 on the board. If you want to be like Rebecca and help us out by helping us cover our cost, Cash App or Venmo at IkeReport.com. Cash App or Venmo at IkeReport.com. Again, look for me on Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Newsmax, on Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, on Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and at noon Eastern on Newsmax. Check me out there. And of course, we'll be back with you before we know it. And make sure you are following me on all the channels to know when we go live, and set your notifications on, please. All right. We need you to do that. Thanks so much for being here. Again, follow me on all the social media channels, and we will see you soon. Remember, it's not time to back down. It's time to double down, because the truth is always worth it.
Rate, subscribe, and leave a review. It's how we get the word out amidst the chaos. Thanks for listening to The Ike Wingate Show.